Hello friends, welcome back to Frontier Patriot for another Chew and Chat. I'm here with Justine, and we are healthy this week, and we are back.
Guess who's back? Back again. Justine's back. Tell a friend. Justine's back, Justine's back, Justine's back. That's right, I'm back. You can't kill me that easily. We've been gone for a week. I'll tell you guys what happened to me. I'll tell you guys, but we'll get into that a little later.
Okay.
But first we're going to tackle fried fish balls.
Fried fish balls.
Which is sort of kind of not what it sounds like, but it is at the same time. Ron, oh, poor Ron. Now, if you're new here, you might not know that Ron absolutely despises seafood.
I do not like it.
He's very, very stubborn about it.
There's a fly in here, by the way.
Yeah, the very first fly.
It's hot today. What's up with this weather? I mean, even in February, we were getting 70, 75.
I know.
It's the first week of March, and it's almost 80, and it's just hot in here.
I've been loving it.
And the flies are flying around now. So.
Yeah, the flies are here very early this year. So Ron, you don't like seafood.
I do not. Now these look delicious. They don't smell very good to me. I don't think they're gonna taste very good to me, but they look the part. They look beautiful.
There's a reason why there's ketchup on the table. That's for Ron. That's the only way you're gonna get him to eat these is if he douses it in ketchup.
Now you said that this was once a very popular breakfast meal,
It was.
right?
This was once a very popular breakfast dish in America. I got this particular receipt from the American Frugal Housewife, published in Boston in 1833. And it's an extremely simple receipt. It just says to combine salted fish. Rooster! Be quiet!
We need to cook him up if you don't shut up.
Next week on Early American, we got chicken. Okay, so you combine mashed potatoes with salted fish, you roll it in balls, and then you fry it. That's all it says to do. It's extremely vague, like a lot of receipts from this time period are. So you have to put whatever seasonings you want in there because it makes... Stop it!
He stopped.
Oh.
Well, it sounds very economical to make too.
Yeah.
And very easy and very quick. And who doesn't love fried stuff? Fried stuff is amazing.
Fried stuff for... Yes, Americans also... Yes, we do like our fried stuff.
Yes.
But I've already had one of these. Ron has not tried it, unsurprisingly. Very interested to see what your reaction is going to be to this.
Yeah, me too.
This is an all-season breakfast dish because dried salted fish you could have had any time of the year. We used croaker fish, which is such a funny name.
Yeah, croaker fish.
Croaker
he looked like he croaked.
Yeah. I think the way you think this is going to taste, you think you're going to croak after eating this.
Probably so. Now, if you guys want to see Justine make these beautiful, potentially nasty tasting fish balls, please go over to our main channel. That's Early American. Over there, we cook it.
And here we eat it.
And here we eat it.
Now, Ron, I've already had one, so that means you are our lucky next contender.
I truly do not like seafood.
Ron,
fish.
let's talk it.
But I will try one bite.
You might like it, and you might have 2 bites.
I highly doubt that.
Place your bets. Do you think Ron's going to like it? Okay, I already know what Ron thinks. He's not going to like it.
Okay.
Give it a go. Put ketchup on it, because I know you can't do it. No, they're all the same.
No, they're not.
Really?
I'm gonna
How
go.
so?
Give me a small one here. Keep playing it. Oh wait, that one's got somebody bit off that one.
I bit off.
And you put it back?
Put it down. Get another one.
You can have that one. I will take this one here.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh, I smell it.
Oh.
I smell it. Oh. Okay.
It's a very... When you take fish and you salt it and preserve it, somehow it gets way more fishy smelling.
I don't want to do this, but okay. Just for the disclaimer, they didn't have this kind of ketchup, but they did have a ketchup back then, so we're making do here.
Okay.
I won't rate the ketchup, obviously, but
Oh, you child. 1833 fish balls.
Oh, that's nasty.
Ron, come on, you can do it!
Ugh, I swallowed it. That's gross.
Is it really?
That first bite had a piece of fish in it. I tried to pick one that didn't have fish. Now this right here.
Oh, you thought that magically you could just look at it and see which one had more or less fish.
Okay, without the fish bites, it's really good. But that first bite had fish in it. No way, Jose. There, I can see dark spots. I'm not eating.
So you're putting it back.
The rest of it was good. I told you we should have made some plain ones for me.
No.
Now I'm gonna starve.
Nope, you cannot cheat.
Well, here, you can have this.
You can't cheat. I refuse to let you do that. Okay, well I'm gonna try it with it. I'm gonna try it with ketchup too, just out of curiosity. First, I'll try it without ketchup, the way it was probably eaten in 1833.
I wonder what they put on it, or if they just ate them dry.
It's breakfast. They just ate them dry, probably. Okay, after I'm done, we're gonna both review it.
Okay.
Okay, without ketchup, I'll admit they are very, very fishy. And like I said, the thing is, fresh fish does not taste like salted dried fish. It's a totally different game. Salted dried fish is extremely fishy. I don't know why that is the case.
Because it's fermented or something.
I don't
know.
I guess it's fermented. Croaker fish is a very bony fish. You can find them around Florida and the Gulf, and they're kind of all over around the Americas, but they could have also used cod. They could have also used anchovies, which would have been even better, wouldn't it?
Would have been worse.
Yeah. Okay, let me try it with ketchup. I'm just kind of curious now. I mean, it is potatoes. Much better with ketchup.
Yes.
Yeah.
I couldn't have done it without the ketchup. There's
Wow.
no way. Alright, I'll give you my review of it.
Okay.
On a scale of 1 to 10, on the looks, it gets 10. They're beautiful looking. On a scale of 1 to 10 of the texture, I'll give you a 9.
Okay.
The outside's crispy, but they have been sitting here for about 5 minutes, so they've lost their crispiness a little bit.
Okay.
On taste, on the potato section of it, I'm giving you a 10. It's excellent. But on the fish, I'm giving you 2.
Oh, so you're giving it a 2.
I'd give it a 1 if it was anchovies, but I'll give it a 2.
Can you give me an overall score?
3.5.
3.5? That's higher than I thought.
But they are very pretty.
Thank you.
That's the only thing that's keeping the score up. And the taste of the potato bite by itself.
Now give me another rating. Rate this 1 out of 10 as a breakfast dish.
0.
Absolutely not for breakfast.
This is not for 0. This is not for breakfast. This would be for lunch for me if I liked fish. They remind me of little hush puppies.
They look like hush puppies. I like hush puppies. As long as they're made right. And it's so hard to find a hush puppy that's made right. They're always overcooked, dry, grainy.
So what's your thoughts on this? What's your rating?
Okay, back to the fried fish balls. I would say overall, I would give them a 7 or a 6 out of 10. I think the croaker fish is not the most ideal fish, but back then you just had whatever salted fish you get your hands on, whatever was the cheapest. Maybe salted cod would have been better, or maybe it would have been worse. I don't know. I know anchovies would have been worse.
I would have just done plain potato balls.
But that's not the receipt!
Whoa.
I have to stick to the receipt!
Well, I know, but I'm saying if I was them back then, I would just say, leave the fish out.
Yeah, I know.
And write down, I'm sure there's a potato one.
There are. Fried mashed potatoes was a huge thing in the early 1800s.
Why didn't we do one of them?
We have already done that in a past video. And there was no fish. Now, I love seafood. Like, I could eat seafood for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And there are cultures out there where it is normal to eat fish for breakfast.
Not in America.
Like in Japan, for example. But yeah, in America, we don't do that here.
Nope.
And so when you don't grow up eating that, it's just weird to you. But back 200 years ago, it wasn't so weird. So I can't say what poor Ron would have thought in 1833, if you would have liked it more or not, or maybe you still would not have liked it.
I don't know. There's always somebody that doesn't like fish.
Yeah. Do you guys think you would enjoy this? And would you eat it for breakfast?
I mean, I'll eat a crab cake or something like that, but this is way more fragrant than that.
Yeah, I mashed up the fish really well, and that made it just kind of intertwined in the mashed potatoes.
Well, what else did you got? You got some show and tell, don't you?
I do. I have some show and tell.
They love show and tell. I love show and tell.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got for us today? Did you get a big chunk of fish? Yeah, it does that, doesn't it?
Should I talk about this first, or should I talk about why I was missing last week?
Okay, you can talk about the missing.
Okay, guys,
She was missing in action. MIA.
I'm about to take you guys on a journey.
You give it on the full truth, or just like the
I'm
sugarcoat?
gonna tell him literally everything that happened, even though parts of it are embarrassing.
Oh, like the first diagnosis?
Yes,
okay.
I was misdiagnosed twice.
Just start at the beginning.
Yeah, I'm gonna start at the beginning, but I'm just saying this already.
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer, I did not have super herpes. Without context, it sounds so weird.
Don't let the dentist diagnose you.
Yeah,
when you're
don't let
sick.
the dentist diagnose you. Okay, I did not put out a video last week on Early American because I was very, very ill. And I am 80% back to normal now. I'm finally able to eat solid food as of like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
But before then, I haven't been able to for the last 2 weeks. Okay, so 2 weeks ago, I wake up like I often do.
The sun's shining,
The
birds
sun's
chirping,
shining, birds are chirping, squirrels are out.
wind's blowing.
Life's beautiful. I have a toothache. Now, I only have one wisdom tooth. And it's this one down here. It's my lower left one. It's never given me serious issues until now. And because of that, I never got it taken out. And I'm terrified of being under anesthesia and getting it taken out. So because of that, I just thought I would never get it taken out like my mom. My mom never had hers taken out either. But I got a toothache real bad. And I put up with it for a couple days, 2 days. And then I get a fever. And then my whole body gets sick. Like I had a very, very bad flu. I had a 102-degree fever that lasted for a week and a half.
It kept fluctuating up and down.
Yeah, it was constant up and down, up and down. I would take my temperature every 30 minutes and it was 100, 102, 102.2. Like it was just going all over the place. But then a couple days after I started developing this toothache, I started getting sores inside of my mouth. They were all over my tongue. I had 4 of them on my tongue. I had a bunch on the roof of my mouth. They were all like on the inside of my gums. Nothing was on the outside. Like if you looked at me, I looked normal. But the inside of my mouth looked diseased and horrible.
Canker sores. Oh.
So it was extremely, extremely painful. I mean, I think I had probably 20 of them.
That's
it
a
was
lot.
really, really bad. And I've never had sores in my life. And I had a 102-degree fever. I was like, bro, take me out to pasture. I think I actually seriously said that to you. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like after a week of not being able to eat anything because it felt like hot fire every time I put anything against my gums. I was like, bro, just take me out to pasture. I can't go on like this. So I make an appointment with the dentist thinking, and again, I've never been through this before, that I had a wisdom tooth infection from hell, and it was like spreading through my body, and I had sepsis, and I had 3 days left to live, or something crazy like that. So I go to the dentist, I go by myself. Normally Ron and I go everywhere together, but you had to meet with a plumber at the house, which we'll talk about that later too, the house update. So I went to the dentist by myself. I noticed like the nurse assistant was very talkative. She was asking me a whole bunch of random questions about my life and stuff. And then as soon as she looks inside my mouth, she gets quiet. That's never...
Backs away.
Yeah,
slowly.
literally. I mean, seriously, she didn't exactly try to hide it. Did she? And I just watch her and she's standing there like taking her gloves off like... throws them away like I have leprosy or something. And so I'm just sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, what is she gonna tell me? I knew it was bad. I felt really bad. The actual dentist comes in. He looks in my mouth, and then he calmly says, Justine, you have one of the worst cases of oral herpes I have ever seen on a patient. And I'm like, what?
She called me crying.
And
then proceeded to almost blame me, and I said, it ain't my fault.
At the time, I knew nothing about oral herpes. I did not have oral herpes, by the way.
No.
But at the time, that's what he told me that I had. He didn't give me an actual test or anything. He just visually looked at it and gave me a visual diagnosis. And you know how dentist's office are? You're not in an enclosed room. It's usually a hallway, and then there's a chair here, a chair there, a chair there, a chair there. And there's like all these patients, you know?
Right.
So it's not private at all. The guy says it, and he's being pretty loud. You have herpes! And there's like this giant flat screen TV in front of the chair that I'm laying in. He pulls it up on Google. He literally Googles oral herpes. And he pulls it up on this giant flat screen TV. And I'm just laying there mortified, thinking, how do I have herpes? It made no sense to me. And then the guy tells me, whoa, it ain't what you think, Justine. This is herpes. He said oral herpes is not an STD. He said you can actually catch it from drinking from a dirty glass. He said you can catch it as a baby. It stays dormant in you for years. Like you can literally get it from kissing a baby, which they say never kiss babies because of this, and then you don't show symptoms until you're like 20. So anyway, I asked him, is there a cure? And he's like, no. He said, I have herpes and there's no cure for me. I'm just living with it. So I walk out of the office with like 20 sores in my mouth. I sit in the car. Oh, and he's like, by the way, you also have an infected wisdom tooth. Anyway, I go back to the car. I immediately call Ron. I don't know how to say this. I don't know how to word this. Because growing up, I never had a conversation about herpes before. So I didn't know at the time that it's actually something that 80% of Americans have. And we just don't have symptoms of it, so you don't know that you have it. I call Ron. I'm like, Ron, you won't believe what the dentist said. And Ron's like, what? What is it?
Is it cancer?
Yeah.
Hope not.
I said, no, it's not cancer. Ron, the dentist told me I have herpes. And Ron's like, what? And he said, I have herpes. And I started crying. I was really sad because it was just kind of shocking to me. You know, there's nothing wrong with having oral herpes. Apparently everyone has it.
It's just the name sounds
The
really
name
bad.
sounds very, very scary.
Yeah.
So anyway, the next day, and the dentist told me, I asked him, can I get herpes medicine? He was like, yeah, but I can't. He said the dental office doesn't prescribe that kind of stuff. You have to go to a regular doctor. So this ain't the end of my story. The next day I wake up, I have like 5 more sores in my mouth. I'm in absolute agony. I still have 102-degree fever. So I don't want to go in person to see a doctor. I do one of those virtual things where you can do like a virtual doctor's appointment. And the nurse is like looking at my mouth and she says, that, and I told her what the dentist said. She was like, that does not look like herpes. But I had it so stuck in my mind now that that's what I had. So I was like, well, he told me I had it, okay? I don't know what's going on with me. Can you just give me like the oral herpes medicine? And she was like, no, I can't. She said, I don't know what's wrong with you. She said, I think you might have hand, foot, and mouth disease. That's what she said. But she's like, I'm not sure. So then that same night, I talked to another doctor in a virtual conference. This one also looks at pictures of my mouth and she's like, yeah, that ain't herpes. She said, you have hand, foot, and mouth disease. That's what she said. And so I was so confused. I didn't know what to do. I was just crying because I was so sick and tired of having 102-degree fever for the last week and a half. And I just couldn't take it anymore because I had no clue what was wrong with me. And it was just getting worse and worse every day. And so the next morning, that second nurse reluctantly did prescribe me herpes medicine because I begged her to give me something and she didn't know what to give me. She didn't know what was wrong with me. she said you need to go to a doctor in person and get tests. She's like, I have no clue what's wrong with you, but I think it's hand, foot, and mouth disease too. So like that night, poor Ron, he drives like really far away to a pharmacy to pick up some herpes medicine for me. Because
they paired you up with a doctor that was from the state that you're from, so that's the only state that she can write prescriptions in.
Illinois.
And for all you thinking this whole time, where's Ron? Why didn't you take her to the hospital and all that? She won't go to the hospital. Also, we don't want a $10,000 bill.
That's
so
the reason I don't
until
go.
things get real serious, I mean, yeah, things hurt and they're, it's uncomfortable, but until there was any real danger, we would have went to the hospital. But we were trying to do the at-home, home remedy stuff and tried a bunch of different options.
Yeah.
And so, but I did take care of her, so don't think I just sat there and said, I don't know what to do. I have a whole list of home remedies to do that my grandmother taught me, that her grandmother taught her.
Yeah.
But Justine's not a fan of those kind of remedies because
they all involve salt.
Salt, vinegar, and some elbow grease.
I'll do the vinegar ones, not the salt. You don't want to put salt on these open wounds. It was like 20 of them. It was horrible. But anyway, so I start the herpes medicine. Next morning, I'm still on it. I still have the same amount of sores. Like, nothing's really getting better. And then the day after that, I wake up and I'm still feeling the same way. I have 102-degree fever. I say, Ron, I can't take it anymore. The dentist said I have oral herpes. That's a lifelong diagnosis. And I can't just go through life thinking I have something that I may or may not have. Mm-hmm. So we went to urgent care in person. And I see a doctor in person, and the doctor looks him inside my mouth, and I tell him everything everyone has been telling me, and he was like, yeah, you don't have herpes. He said, you have hand, foot, and mouth disease, which is what the nurses had been telling me. But he also told me that there's no real test for hand, foot, and mouth disease, at least not an easy one. And so he was like, I'm going to test you also for the flu. Mm-hmm. So he tests me for the flu. It comes back positive. It comes back positive for influenza type B. So it was like a real flu, not just a cold, but the actual flu. And he's like, you know what? He said, I think that because you're battling a wisdom tooth infection and it's really weakened your immune system, you caught the flu. The stress that it's putting on your immune system right now is really strong, so you've developed canker sores all over the inside of your mouth. I was like, what? The flu can give you sores?
So you didn't have hand, foot, and mouth disease.
I did not have hand, foot, and mouth disease.
Also, a telltale sign of that is you didn't have any sores on your hands or your feet, which I've never even heard of that before. I guess you get it from putting your foot in your mouth. Haha.
No, I don't know.
But anyways, carry on your story.
When I told my dad earlier that day the doctor thought I had hand, foot, and mouth disease, he didn't understand. He thought I said hoof and mouth disease or something, because he grew up on a farm. So he was like, how the heck did you get hoof and mouth disease? He was like,
got mad cow disease.
Yeah, he was like, have you been around a cow? Like, he was being dead serious. He was like, how did you get that disease? He's like, that is such a serious disease, Justine. Did you touch a cow? And I'm like, no, Dad, it's hand, foot, and mouth disease, not hoof and mouth disease. So anyway, the doctors, he finally gave me the diagnosis. He said I had a whole bunch of canker sores that developed as a result of having a severely compromised immune system. Mm-hmm. Now, there is no cure for the flu, and there's no cure for canker sores. Canker sores are not cold sores. They're two different things. Canker sores happen inside your mouth, mm-hmm. and they're not caused by herpes. So he just said, eat healthy, but he also prescribed me this, a custom mouthwash, because I was not able to eat anything. Mm-mm. I was drinking Ensure drinks, and even that burned like agony. I mean, it burned so bad to eat or drink anything. I told you all I needed to lose weight for my wedding, but not like this.
Not like this.
So he prescribed this, it's custom, so it had to be compounded at the pharmacy. They had to make it specially for me. It has like 5 different ingredients in it.
It's got a lot of lidocaine in it, so
yeah,
it's as strong as getting a shot compared to what you told me. So your whole mouth goes numb, you can't feel your tongue or nothing.
Yeah, so when you put this in your mouth, you swish it around for like 30 seconds, whatever, and spit it out. It makes your mouth go completely numb. It feels like you went to the dentist and got a cavity filled and he gave you shots. It feels like that. There's a downside to this, though. It only lasts for 10 minutes on me.
And you can't taste your food.
And you can't taste anything. Because it makes your tongue completely numb as well as the whole inside of your mouth, so I can't taste anything. So I had 10 minutes to eat anything. 10 minutes. I'm also...
Here, let me do that, then I'll eat this whole plate of them.
Oh, yeah. I'm also on penicillin right now.
For the tooth infection.
For the tooth infection, amoxicillin, 500 milligrams. Amoxicillin, thank you. I'm almost done with it, though. I only have 1 day left. The tooth infection. Okay, so why hasn't my tooth been taken out? Firstly, I couldn't get my tooth taken out because they thought I had oral herpes, and the dentist won't touch that until the thing goes away. Once I found I don't have that, still the dentist won't take the tooth out until all the sores are healed. The sores are 80% gone now. Mm-hmm. So hopefully once they're all gone for sure, I'm going to get this tooth taken out. I can only chew food on this side of my mouth right now, and that's not the side of the mouth that I usually chew on, so it's a little weird. But I'll tell you what has been helping me so much, and it's not a prescription product. This is what made my sores go away. I got this from Amazon. I think you say lysine? Lysine?
Yeah.
Lysine?
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 So many of you guys were recommending me to take this for canker sores. It's something that naturally exists in our food. It helps with collagen synthesis and healthy immune function, but I've been taking 2 of these a day. It's 1,000 milligrams, so I've been taking 2,000 milligrams a day until the sores go away. Then I'll just go back to having like 1 a day. But I've never taken this before until like 4 days ago, and my sores start going away as soon as I start taking this. So this worked better than anything. And
it's just over the counter.
It's just over the counter. I will say these are some really, really big pills.
The size of pills you give a horse.
Man, these are some big old pills right here. And they're a little chalky, so that sucks. But you gotta do what you gotta do. And I'm back in the game. Yeah. I've been eating again.
I'm glad you can eat now.
Yeah, the last 2 days.
I was feeling guilty as well, so I would just kind of low-key eat little bits of food, and then when you weren't around, I'd shove it in my face. But well, I know you like to eat like I like to eat, so I didn't want to do that in front of you when you couldn't eat.
Now, 2 days ago, we went to Olive Garden. I said, I can't take it anymore. I have to eat food. I was sick and tired of drinking insured drinks. I couldn't even drink a smoothie, like a fruit or vegetable smoothie, because the acid in fruits and stuff burnt my mouth so bad. Mm-hmm. So we go to Olive Garden. I don't know what I was thinking. Stupidity, maybe? But I see, endless soup and salad for $9? Sign me up. Problem is the salad had vinegar dressing on it. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that at the time. I start eating it. It burns as if someone just rubbed salt on an open wound. It was so bad. And then my mouth started bleeding. Yep.
The sores were bleeding.
Yeah, they were bleeding. It was so bad. But taking this, the last 2 days, I've been significantly better. Mm-hmm. And I'm out of the bed. I was bedbound for a week and a half. But I feel good now. But my flu is gone. It's just my tooth is still sore. And I have a couple of small sores left, but they're going away. They're not bothering me so much right now.
You got your giddy up back.
Yeah, I do. You don't have to take me out to pasture no more. Until next time.
And I didn't even get it, thankfully.
Yeah, you didn't get it. Yeah, you didn't get the flu from me. I'm grateful for that.
I have a dirty habit. I'm a nail biter, so I like to think I have a pretty strong immune system.
I can't make them stop. So.
I'll pump gas and I'll hop back in the car, and so I've exposed myself to all sorts of things. So I've really built it up over the years, unfortunately. Fortunately I've built it up, but I hate that it's happened that way. You got one more thing you want to show and tell us? Your this, you call it a fashion plate? This print?
Yeah, I found this fashion plate to completely change the subject, guys.
I actually have. Let's
get back to history.
Yeah, history.
Okay, So this is a fashion plate. I have 2 of them, and it's not dated, but I know this is from the 1820s just from looking at it. This is an original print. And fashion plates, they've had fashion plates from, like, I've seen them from the 17th century.
Wow.
But it was kind of like Vogue magazine today.
So would dressmakers put these out, or would just pop culture put them out to say this is what the new fashion is?
Dressmakers would not put them out. They were sort of kind of like magazines.
Okay.
200 plus years ago. Now, obviously the dressmakers had a heavy influence on it, again like Vogue magazine. You know, so it was kind of like the Vogue of its time, where you would buy these magazines and it would have these pictures in it, and they would come out multiple times a year, and you could see the latest fashions.
I don't know anything about Vogue, other than that Madonna song where she's like, Vogue, 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 Vogue.
You can put that back, please. Now, Ron, I guess I can go back to talking about my show and tell.
Okay.
Well, to cheer myself up during my extreme roller coaster over the last week and a half, I bought a book.
You bought a book?
I bought a book from an auction in St. Louis, which is the closest city to us, about 30, 40 minutes away from here. And I just couldn't say no to this. This is an actual original receipt book from the 1850s, published in America in 1854, I believe in Philadelphia. There's a whole bunch of these old ink marks. I think someone was cleaning their ink pen off.
I see.
At first I was like, oh Lord, is that blood? But now I thought about it, I'm like, no, that's ink. So, Miss Leslie's New Receipts for Cooking. Published in Philadelphia, I think originally 1852, but I have the 1854 version.
It actually says receipts. A lot of you say, don't you mean recipes? Well, no.
Yeah, that's
Receipt is the proper term for written
1800s.
instruction for cooking for a couple hundred years, all the way up until the early 1900s, and they went to the more common, what we know today, recipe.
Yeah.
It actually makes more sense to me, because if you look at a receipt, like from the store, it tells you what you bought and the quantity of it.
A list.
Yeah, it's a list, so it makes sense. And now, even today, I say the word receipt. Even when I'm looking at a modern, they're like, hey, check out this receipt from Betty Crocker or something. I just use the word receipt now instead of recipe.
Yeah, we use these words in our modern life too.
I've changed.
You're a changed man. I think it's very interesting how we normally do the 1820s to the 1830s. This is usually the latest I'll go. The Virginia Housewife, 1833. But in only 20 years' time, 1854, 20 years' time, there's now vanilla in every single cake recipe. There's a lot of different coconut recipes in here. I have seen some coconut recipes from our time period, but they're pretty few and far between. There are some leavening agents mentioned in here. So in only 20 years, cooking in America completely changed.
You got fluffy biscuits, you got vanilla flavoring.
Yeah, so this one has chocolate cake, and it actually sounds like a dang good chocolate cake. Scrape down 3 ounces of the best and purest chocolate or prepared cocoa. Cut up into a deep pan 3/4 of a pound of fresh butter. Add to it a pound of powdered loaf sugar and stir the butter and sugar together till very light and white. Have ready 14 ounces of sifted flour, a powdered nutmeg, and a teaspoonful of powdered cinnamon mixed together. Beat the whites of 10 eggs till they stand alone, then the yolks till they are very thick and smooth. Then mix the yolks and whites gradually together, beating very hard when they are all mixed. And the eggs by degrees to the beaten butter and sugar in turn with the flour and the scraped chocolate, a little at a time of each. Also the spices. Stir the whole very hard. Put the mixture into a buttered tin pan with straight sides and bake it at least for 4 hours. If nothing is to be baked afterwards, let it remain until the oven becomes cool. When cold, ice it. Sounds good.
Yeah, so that one actually doesn't have a leavening agent. This has the egg whites, so that's old school. But it sounds really good. It
sounds almost modern. And then we have a coconut cream here with grated coconut. Now, coconuts travel very well.
Oh, yeah.
They store very, very well. So, and then we have a whole bunch of vanilla ones. Vanilla Flumery with vanilla beans. And I've also seen mentions of vanilla extract in here. I literally just turned the page and there's another vanilla one, vanilla cream. So I just thought it was really cool. In 20 years, everything changed. There's now vanilla everywhere.
And it still is today too. Everybody loves vanilla flavoring.
Yes,
or
they
vanilla
do.
scents. You actually wear vanilla perfume.
I do. I love vanilla.
I love it. It smells really good.
Well, thank you.
Well, are you guys ready for this week in wait, not this week in history. It's the this week's weirdest history fact.
This week's weirdest history fact. Go.
Okay. So, y'all might have noticed my mug here. You might notice that it says unite or die instead of join or die. Join or die referred to the colonies coming together during the French and Indian War in the 1750s and 1760s. And that it was revised and called unite or die because we were becoming the United States during the Revolutionary War. So I thought that might be interesting until I looked up the snake. I was curious, like, what kind of snake is it anyways? And this is where actually the strange history fact comes from, is that it's not a snake at all, actually.
Oh, it's not a snake.
Now it has a name called we call it the glass snake, but it's actually the glass lizard. It's a lizard.
It's a lizard.
It's a lizard without legs.
What?
So the whole point of it being chopped up is because this lizard, if you just like kind of flick it or touch it or whatever.
Scare it.
Yeah, it will detach into multiple parts.
It's its defense. You know, some lizards, their tails come off when they're scared.
Yep. When something goes to grab their tail, the tail detaches and then they slither their way to safety. Well, there's a portion of the body of this snake lizard that will slither away, and the rest of its body will break into pieces very easily. So, they use that as a representation because at the time there was a folklore going around that the glass snake, given time, will reattach itself when it's no longer scared. That's obviously not how it works, unfortunately, but that's what they were depicting in the picture, is that it will rejoin together and be strong again.
Or it will die.
And then another fun thing I've seen about it is in the original In Join or Die, Georgia is not represented, actually. So you have New England, New York, Pennsylvania, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. New England includes multiple colonies up in that area, but in the Unite or Die one, they actually added Georgia, and that's because Georgia was so new back in the 1740s that it wasn't worth mentioning, basically. And
so each one of the pieces of the snake is a colony.
A colony or a region, like New England, NE, that refers to multiple colonies up there.
So it's saying all of the colonies need to join together into one force against England.
Yep.
Or else we will die.
Yes.
We can't do it alone.
Yes.
We have to do it together.
But like I said, during the French and Indian War, it was join or die against the French. In the Revolutionary War, the Unite or Die, it was unite against Britain. So anyways, that's what I have for this week's weirdest history fact, was the fact that they have this flag, which some of you may have never seen before because everybody's seen the join or die, so this is unique. And then as I dug, I thought the snake would be even cooler, so it's cool to find out
it's not a snake.
It's not a snake, yeah. So anyways, that's all I got for this week's weirdest history fact.
That's a good one. I'm now curious what makes a lizard and a snake a snake.
Well, one telltale sign is the eyes. The lizard can blink, a snake does not blink.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
That makes them creepier.
Yes.
Okay. Huh. Wow.
And there's something to do with the jaw too, but I don't remember exactly. But the eyes were a dead giveaway if it can close its eyes or whatever, or if they're just always open.
I see. So the absence of legs has nothing to do with being a snake.
Right.
The more you know. Cool.
Yep.
Thank you, Ron.
You're welcome. So anyways, that's all I got for that. We want to get into the house update?
Yes. It's been a while.
Okay. So we have called in the cavalry because we're running out of time. We got about 2 months left until we get married, and there is a lot of stuff to do, and there's only 2 of us.
Right.
So since last time we talked about the house, we have hired a plumber. We have hired a guy to put our siding on for us. A guy to dig our well for us. And I think that's it right now.
I think that's it.
So those 3 things should be happening within the next 2 weeks to 3 weeks. So March is going to be crazy. Right now, the house doesn't really look any different than the last time you guys seen it. We put the doors on it, and the windows are in it, of course, but it's still wrapped up like a Christmas present. It says Lowe's everywhere. But by the end of this month, we should have a picture to show you with the siding on it, and it'll look a lot different.
Yeah.
I can't wait, because I'm so tired of looking at that paper. Like Justine has said multiple times, it looks like a Christmas present.
It might not be 100% on.
Right.
The guy did tell us he thinks it's going to take him 3 weeks to put it on.
Because I don't think he has a lift.
Yeah, this will be interesting.
So I think they're doing it from a ladder.
Oh,
which,
Lord.
Go for it. I won't get up that high on a ladder. And a lift is way too expensive to rent. So if it takes them 3 weeks, as long as they do a good job, I don't care.
Yeah, so the siding should be done in mid-April. And that's going to make a huge difference to the visual appearance of the outside of the house.
It'll really start taking shape then.
Right.
So
our siding, though, is not painted.
It is primed at this point, so it can stay up it can be exposed up to a year for the warranty on it from the manufacturer. But we hope to get that painted maybe before fall and the summer when it starts to cool off and get drier. Because you don't want to do it when it's humid. You want it to stick really good, but I want to get it on there before winter time for sure. So our house will be kind of like a grayish white for a little while.
That's the color of the primer.
Yes. So we're going to do we're going to run the wires ourselves. We're going to do the insulation ourselves and the drywall and the flooring and all that stuff. But these other things,
we just don't have time.
We don't have time to research and try to do it and then make a mistake and scratch our head.
Yeah.
So we're just having somebody else do it who's certified to do it. And be done with it so we can get this done as fast as possible.
Yeah, because we only have 2 months left before we get married. If we had 6 months left, we could have done it all.
Right.
But we've never done any of this stuff before, so before you take on this undertaking, we have to do a lot of research. Right. And we are just finding that we're not having enough time to get everything done.
Time and money. So the longer we take to do something, at least we can make more money in the meantime to work and then do things we need to do. Because we're doing this without a loan, which is very hard to do.
Very hard.
But if you got the time to do it, I would highly recommend it because nobody likes to be in debt. So anyways, we love you guys. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
See you guys next week. Take care.